Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Lickletter here, and of course, it's Sunday, so that means we have another episode of Series 11 of Doctor Who. This one is, of course, the second episode of the series this year is The Ghost Monument, written again by Chris Chibnall. And let's be honest, Chris Chibnall is a very interesting writer here, because the Ghost Monument, unlike, it has a very different plot. I just finished watching it, and I'm going to be honest here. There will probably be spoilers. There's a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about, because I didn't get the chance to talk about them last week because they weren't included last week, but the title sequence with and the new theme. I love them both. I have one gripe with the title sequence, and that is not the designer's fault. It's more of, I think, the fault of whoever decided to put in the names. When they flashed Whittaker, Walsh, Cole, Gill, or however they flashed it. So the titles are basically an homage to the Hartnell, Troughton, and Pertwee titles. They're very HowlRound. I love the purple design. It actually works. It gives it a flare of color. It's the combination of my two favorite colors, red and blue, and it looks really, really good. And I love it. It looks goopy. It looks cool. It looks. I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite new series titles. For reference, it's probably this one, then the first Smith titles from series 5 and 6, then Capaldi, then Tennant and Eccleston and Tennant, and then at the bottom the second Smith titles and the series 7 titles, because those are both awful. They just don't look good. But it's very much an homage to Pertwee, and what's kind of a shame is that the names, the tempo of the theme is kind of quick, which is really nice. It's also a really electronic theme. It sounds closer to the original arrangement used in the Hartnell era, and I love it. It's surround sound. It just sounds good. Segun Akinola did an amazing job giving it a different flavor. He also did an amazing job, oddly enough, with the music in this episode. I noticed it a little more. We seem to have a couple of themes. He's obviously, like Murray Gold's, he's going to use leitmotif, which I think is good if used well. I just think that's something that wasn't necessarily used well in all the time with Gold. I think though it hasn't become too much yet, which is very good. I'm glad it hasn't come yet. But what we have, other than that, again, the names they don't flash in beat, because if you're homaging Pertwee, you really should have them flash in beat, because that's sort of how it happened. And it's going quick enough. It's sort of the measure is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. It should be going 1 2 3. On each one, we should be having a new name, because they just sort of it's almost timed to 1 and 3. So 1 2 3 new name, 4 1 2 new name, 3 4 1 new name. It's not as it's a minor nitpick, but for someone who knows quite a bit about music, it just matching music up to visuals. It doesn't work as well with that. It's a very again, it's a minor nitpick. I understand, but it's gonna get to me, because it's just like quick. And I also think we should have had Whittaker's face in the titles. I know Chibnall's making his mark, but come on, every Doctor except Hartnell in the classic series had their face in the titles, and then Smith and Capaldi both had their face in their titles, which was good. So seriously, like, it would have been better if we had the face and the titles to go along with it. But the story itself, The Ghost Monument, is fun. It's basically, it's a very low story. It seems that we're actually setting up a series arc, which is weird, because Chibnall said he wasn't doing an arc, because we're having this is basically just a race to the TARDIS. That's really all it is. And you know what? As a plot, it works. it works decently well. This isn't, again, this, but though much like a lot of Chibnall's work, this isn't, we aren't at a point where we have a big, amazing, awesome story overall. We have, we haven't had that yet, which is a bit of a nuisance. Though what seems to be nice, and I'll get to the TARDIS itself because that's we actually get to see it and it's great. Um, uh, so, um, but what's kind of nice is that we have a story. There isn't really a villain. The villain is this guy who is I don't even remember his name, but he's the guy who essentially organized this race, only because he's kind of an asshole. Like that's about it. He really doesn't have uh, too much development, which is kind of a shame. I enjoy the episode. I'm gonna get that out of the way. Honestly, I loved Whittaker's performance was good. She seems to be settling down in. We're doing a little bit of quirky, but we aren't quite as over the top as it was in the first episode, which was a little bit of my gripe. She's actually, I'm really enjoying her presence. She just has this energy and warmth. Even if her Doctor's characteristics haven't fully really developed yet, it's just she really does slip into the role nicely. And I'm honestly I will eat my words. Chibnall did a good job at casting her. I and I hopefully a lot of, and I think a lot of detractors will do this. I mean, I do have a feeling that the that the entire series will hopefully get better ratings because of it. Like that's hopefully very very nice. Uh, but the episode itself isn't amazing. It's a solid episode. Like I liked it just about as much as I liked the first one. It's getting through. We're going through a quick story, running through this desolated planet where apparently the Stenza, which is the species from the first episode, destroyed it. So they're going to be and there's also these genetically engineered creatures who say something about the timeless child. Those are all arcs setting up things, which the Stenza, probably defeating the Stenza would probably be focusing on that, probably be better. The timeless child, we have a problem of opening up another mystery box style story. Now I believe Council of Geeks has done a really good video on why the mystery boxes don't work in the Moffat era. But that was a problem with the Moffat era that needs to go away. I'm afraid, we already have speculation calling it a timeless child. Could be a reference to Susan. Could be a reference. It could be a reference to or it could be a reference to something new. My mind immediately went to Susan, which would be interesting, especially with the familial theme. But it's just one of those things that I'm not enjoying. I was hoping that Chibnall would realize he needs to retire the mystery boxes altogether. Or at least for a season, because I think the Stenza would probably be enough. Flesh them out as a race, make them, they have potential to be a good villain, even if they weren't entirely developed. A couple of other minor quibbles. Yasmin is not. She's not been the best companion so far. Of the Doctor's new companions, I think, because she's just, I don't want to say she's just there, but she's just there. We haven't gotten enough. I mean, Mandip Gill gives a good performance. She's working well with what she's got, but I hope in the next couple episodes we can, or even in the next episode, we need to give her some development, because we have decent development on Ryan and Graham. We have their relationship even going strong, though. My prediction is Graham is dead by the end of the series. They're building him up like he's going to die, and it's going to happen. Don't get me wrong. That is probably where this story is going. and I like Ryan, though, and I like that that Chibnall's trying to do some of the emotional weight with Grace's death from the previous episode. I hope we can get more of it. I liked um, I liked just the way that it was done. Um, uh, I hope, I hope we can, I hope that Graham and Ryan can actually get some time to, actually be a good grandfather and grandson pair. Like have that decent relationship before Graham leaves. Like I understand Chibnall might wanting to make it a gut punch, but sometimes I think it would work better if they were, closer overall. Um, but that being said, Whitaker was great. The whole we have the new TARDIS, which yeah, it's an okay design. It is there's some of it I like, some of it I don't. I like some of the design. Um, the It's mixed. It's not as bad as Matt Smith's first TARDIS or David Tennant's TARDIS, which are two designs I didn't like. I love the outside, and I love that they have the little porch, and I love the design of the room itself, and even some of the console. I like the crystalline structure. I just think it could have been implemented better. And I like that they're going for a hands-on, no keyboards thing. But some of the childish things are just a bit too silly. Like it dispenses custard creams, I believe is what they're called, and it's just silly. I I like the color scheme. It feels warm and inviting. Um, I also Jodie really sells that scene, like where when she just gets the TARDIS back at the end. She does a really really solid job with that scene. Um, but other than that, I just don't really like the control room. But overall, the story was fun. There are probably I have some gripes. But honestly, it was just as good as the last episode. It's probably a decent 7 out of 10. Not better, not worse. Just good, a decent first 2 episodes. Hopefully, the momentum keep going with episode 3. But yeah.